Lawrence, are we recording? I just want to make sure we're on.
Well,
We
let's
are
make
recording,
sure.
Mr. Robinson.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett.
Thank you.
Welcome to the March 10th, 2021 BAR Large Virtual Meeting. My name is John Robinson. The other board members present this afternoon are Jay White, Luda Subchuk, James Metters, and Leon Scott. The city staff present today are Tori Parrish and Lawrence Courtney. The order of the meeting will be as follows. We will have an introduction and overview of the project by city staff to the board and for the public. There will then be an application presentation with a 10-minute time limit, or as determined by the chair, and any questions of the applicant by the board or staff. Any and all presenters should clearly state their name for the record. Persons affiliated with the project, be they owners, developers, designers, consultants, etc., should speak during this portion rather than during the public comment portion. This will be followed by the public comment portion, which is a 10-minute time limit or its equivalent for the applicant presentation as determined by the chair. The applicant does not get to respond to comments made during the public comment period. Please clearly state your name for the record if you are speaking during the public comment period. This will be followed by city staff comments and recommendation. Then there will be a period for applicant response or clarification to both public comment and city staff comments and recommendations. A 5-minute cutoff rule applies to this. The applicant will then take a seat and only speaks if called upon by the board to address a board question. There's then board discussion and a vote. The applicant presentation and public comment period is now closed. An applicant may clarify inaccurate information when recognized by the chair by raising their hand and waiting to be called upon, but otherwise may only speak if asked a question by a board member. As of the presentation of my agenda, no items have been withdrawn or deferred. I believe that's still correct, and that we have one agenda item this evening. Is that correct, Ms. Parrish?
That is correct. Thanks for asking.
This is a reminder to all of our visitors, and guests and members of the public. Please turn off all cell phones and other devices. And importantly, please limit your comments to architecture only. Comments related to zoning, such as parking, traffic, lot coverage, and livability concerns are not the purview of this board and cannot be voiced here. And we appreciate your consideration of these requirements and etiquette. With that said, Ms. Parrish, would you like to lead us on our first agenda item this evening?
Sure thing. Actually, our first agenda.
There are a few more items.
Yeah,
there
with the
are.
mini circle.
Okay,
You want to read those, John?
please hold on one moment, please. I apologize.
You thought you were done.
You got a long page.
Sorry, guys. It's a
Oh,
virtual
yes.
world.
Thank you. Thank you, Lawrence, for going to this slide. Additional clarification regarding meeting protocol. This is important for applicants and the public to understand. Staff will control the PowerPoint presentation that includes everything submitted by the applicant by the deadline in accordance with the submittal requirements. Applicants simply need to ask staff to advance to the next slide during your presentation. Applicants, staff, and board members are required to give their name whenever speaking. Video and microphone has been disabled for all attendees. Attendees, not board members or staff, will only be given capabilities to speak when they are called on during the public comment period. The chat and the question and answer functions have been disabled for everyone. Regarding public comment, the applicants, all team members, and the public have been required to register, indicate the project they wish to comment on, and submit any documents in advance of the meeting. Just as in an in-person meeting, all applications heard today are part of a public meeting format. If you have registered and will speak during the public comment portion of the meeting, you will need to state your name and address for the record. Those members of the public that have registered will be called in order by project. Members of the public that speak are encouraged to remain in the meeting for the completion of the agenda item they have commented on. Staff will call on the registered meetings of the public to speak for each project. Unregistered members of the public who raise their hand will not be called on. And additionally, these proceedings are being recorded. One more slide.
And just one more. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Lawrence. Thank you for keeping me on track. This is a reminder that As regards the board members will be polled by the chair for comments and for their vote on a motion. Each member when voting should respond yea in favor or nay not in favor. The chairman shall reread the motion verbatim, and the board member making the motion should correct the chairman if he has not reread the motion accurately. If a board member needs to recuse, he will be temporarily removed from the meeting and placed back in the meeting at the start of the next agenda item. If the board needs to go into executive session, they will call into a separate conference line, and all video and audio on Zoom will be temporarily turned off until they are ready to return to the regular meeting. Staff will issue meeting results, including staff comments and a board motion to the applicant following the meeting. Results will also be posted on the city website at www.charleston-sc.gov/BAR. For additional information, you can contact the BAR at the BAR website, which is capital BAR at charleston-sc.gov. You may also visit www.charleston-sc.gov/BAR if you are experiencing technical difficulties during this meeting. And again, a reminder that these proceedings are being recorded.
Thank you very much, Mr. Robbins.
Thank you.
And with that, I believe we're prepared to move on to agenda item 194 Spring Street.
That's right. Thank you. Agenda item number 1 and our only agenda item is 194 Spring Street. This is the request for approval of the mock-up panel for 194 Spring. This is in the West Side neighborhood. The height district is 5. The structure is not rated. It's new, and it's in the Old City District. And here we have some aerials. So this project site is at Spring and 17, which, if I'm not mistaken, is what we call the crosstown. This is a view from street level looking northwest at the project site. This would be at Spring and 17. And then another view just west of that first view looking back northward. Okay, and we'll have the applicant present.
And I will try and find Miss Spencer and let her unmute herself.
There wouldn't be any sort of selling any product or any sort of distribution of product on.
Sarah, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, Lawrence.
Okay.
Do you see Stuart Barber on this call?
I do not.
Do you
Okay.
think he could be, Tara, do you think he could be under a different name? We have somebody who is in under, nope, Charleston Small Conference Room. Could
Yeah,
that is that him?
that sounds like him. Yes. If we could
Oh.
unmute him, that would be wonderful.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Barber, we can hear you.
Is there a way for me to cut on my video?
You should be able to.
You should
Okay,
be able to do it
I
on
had the
your-
ability to do it earlier. I think there was a test, and it looks like I'm still in the spectator screen, I guess.
Okay, let's,
Well, there is an aesthetic requirement. That's why all of us beautiful people have our videos on.
There we go. Can you see me now?
yes.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right, thank you. Put that down for a second. So my name is Stuart Barber with McMillan Pazin Smith. I am the architect for this. We have Tara Spencer here as well. I'm lucky to be broadcasting from a conference room with a camera that's up high, so hopefully no tech neck here. We appreciate the opportunity to present this. It's the only thing on the agenda item, so hopefully this will be fairly painless. We recognize the importance of the mock-up. It represents the building, and if we don't have it right on that mock-up, then we can't really expect it to have it right in the building. It forms that purpose and forms what all the trades are going to look at as they work on the building. I called in a little bit earlier, and there was some discussion about materials on the mock-up, and were they representative of the materials of the building, or were there some decisions left to make? I'm not sure where that came from, but no, we have, these are all the materials that that are going to be on the building that we want to put on the building, and they are the right finishes. There is nothing left to chance there. I don't think we would be here right now if we didn't have the right materials. So no, it's absolutely, this is what we want to present today and what we expect the building will look like if we achieve approval. So over the past few weeks, Trident and us, Trident Construction as a general contractor, we have worked to refine the details of this mock-up, make sure that it is representative of the building, all the conditions are present, all the flashing conditions are present, and what you're seeing is a culmination of that effort. So we have refined some of the details. We've tightened up some things. We've asked them to rebuild and reattend some of the things. So yeah, this is our best effort, and I think it really represents what we expect the building to look like. So this is a brick building, so we know that is going to be one of the most important things, if not the most important thing. So, you know, we have refined the coursing. We've made sure the joints were uniform and intentional. The brick is a tumble brick, but we've also talked about how we get a uniform appearance even though the brick is tumbled, and gone over what some of those things can be with the mason, and hopefully is represented on the mock-up. I think it is. The other thing here, of course, is the metal panels. We have scrutinized those as we know that you will. We expect, and we have the crisp joints, the no fasteners exposed. We've refined some profiles to make sure that they are precisely what's on the building, and the details are worked out too. Sometimes those details are looked at on the mock-up and finalized there, as opposed to in the drawing set that we submitted for permit. So this is what hopefully you will see on the building. So we also understand that the sealant, that is always a conversation point, and especially with a darker brick and a lighter mortar color, blending that to put those two things together, really an effort to make sure it disappears into the field and is not visual, is something that we've tried to do. We know sometimes that is trial and error, honestly, and so that's what the mock-up is for. We have put several different but similar colors of sealant on there. It's hard to see in these pictures, but it is part of what the mock-up is in person. And we hope that we can work with Mr. Courtney to finalize those and to choose the one that is correct. We are trying to blend a lot of disparate colors, so I think that we want some opinions and we want to get the right one. So, you know, other than that, I think it's the windows are exactly what we expected, and the metal panel is really looking sharp, and we're happy with that. And the two different brick colors, I think, are going well together and really lived up to our expectations as they come on site. And I think the masons have done a really good job representing them. The brick, of course, is unique, and so are those Rehal windows. We chose them on purpose to be that kind of unique quality of it while still fitting into the historic context of the city. But they do carry a longer lead time. I know that there was some discussion about this earlier, and this crazy world that we live in has made it a little bit more challenging for all of us, of course, not to mention getting some things in as far as building materials go. We are humbly requesting approval, if possible, of those two items, the brick and the windows, so that they may be ordered, even as we tweak those final details on the mock-up and achieve a full acceptance of that. But we really appreciate the opportunity to present, and we look forward to questions and comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. We appreciate that. We will now have the opportunity for public comment.
Okay, I am going to allow.
We have one public comment. That would be Anna Catherine Carroll.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Anna Catherine Carroll with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The Preservation Society feels that the ground floor material as proposed via this mock-up is unsuccessful. The square brick pieces feel underscaled, and we feel strongly that the material palette of this section of the building should be restudied to allow the individual material pieces to be larger and for the joints to be made tighter to present a higher quality appearance at the ground floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Carroll. Any other public comment?
Oh, sir.
Hearing none, we'll move to city staff comments and recommendations.
Thanks, John. Staff comments. Number one, this is referring to the fencing, and we have some photographs we can come to if needed. The 6x6 wood fence posts need to have a rail cap with a more shallow pyramidal top. The fencing should be more like the typical BAR approved double-sided 6-foot urban privacy fence. This section of fencing needs to be replaced. Visible louvers and exhaust vents should be painted inconspicuously rather than an accent color. In a brick wall, this would be the generalized brick mortar blended color. 3, sealants at louvers and windows are to match the color of the generalized adjacent primary building material rather than a mortar color or the window or storefront color. This sealant joint is to be minimized. 4, the area of the lintels and mortar inboard of the lipped brick is to be painted the generalized brick mortar blended color to match the material above it. 5, applicant shall confirm the general height off the sidewalk of the exposed concrete on which the flood panels will sit. If at the sidewalk level, this should be stained to match the generalized brick mortar blended color of the special repavers and mortar adjacent to it. If raised, these should be stained to match the generalized ground face block and mortar. Any sealant in this material is to match the color of the material. Joints in brick are to be uniform with all bricks straight and plumb. 7, some brick have sizable holes at the tumbled edges. With this concern, in lieu of exchanging the brick, these brick conditions shall be concealed by general placement on the building and or with individual placement by orienting the brick so that the more dramatically tumbled brick edges are concealed. 8, where the ground face block and brick walls meet, the sealant between should match the generalized brick mortar blended color. This will allow for a cleaner joint line. 9, miters at brick pavers should consistently be placed at outside corners, not inside corners. 10, eliminate all exposed fasteners at copings and other sheet metal. Copings are best handled with the kicked out drip eliminated, the vertical face terminating in a hemmed edge held slightly off the face of material below to maintain a cleaner drip condition and used with pre-finished, pre-formed corners. 11, and you just confirm this, applicant to confirm if all flashing conditions are shown, including any through-wall flashing. All flashing is to be minimized and is to match the color of the primary material against which it is placed as to be inconspicuous. And last, number 12, sheet metal components, while generally are handled well, could have tighter joints in a couple of places, and this expectation should be maintained during construction. The staff recommendation, the mock-up is better constructed than the number of comments might lead one to believe, and most of the comments are easily addressed. Staff therefore recommends deferral of the mock-up to allow the applicant to address staff and board comments with final review of the corrected mock-up by staff. Per applicant request, and because of the nature and degree of staff comments, staff recommends approval of brick and windows to allow for ordering. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Parrish. Mr. Barber, now, or anyone associated with the project, will now have the opportunity for an applicant response or clarification to either the public comment or city staff comments.
Sure. The public comment is of course a valid one, and the 8x8 brick, it is actually a brick masonry product, and is installed similar to brick with similar mortar joints, and I think that was the effect we were going for, rather than a stone looking base with very minimized mortar joints. And with the brick as a part of that, we felt like that was a better material to incorporate both of them together. I will say that the base is quite a bit larger or taller than it is represented on the mock-up, just because the mock-up is a smaller version of the building, so that is smaller. And I really think that it will have the presence that we were going for, and hopefully should satisfy when it gets on the building at the height it's going to be. So it's not a ground-based block, and I think it is a brick product. We have already started fixing a lot of the items that have been noted on here, and the sealant colors. We know that we have a couple of choices, and we have made some opinions there, and would love to work with Mr. Courtney to get his opinion and input on which one would work best. Same thing with painting the various small items around the facade, the lintel, etc. And the sheet metal components, we will take off the 45 on the coping. Actually, I think that's already happened. We will have hemmed corners if it's not already on there. And of course, those tight joints are going to be a non-starter with us. That we will absolutely make sure they have those. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Barber.
Thank you.
All right, it is now the time for board discussion and vote.
Well, Mr. Chairman, this is James. I'd like to ask the applicant a question, please.
Certainly, yes, sir. You have the floor.
Just wanted to ask about, you mentioned something about exposed fasteners earlier. And of course, there are pop rivets that are used that are exposed, but you were not talking about that when you mentioned exposed fasteners?
I believe, I'm not aware of any exposed fasteners, and I want to, we do have some corner conditions that are part of the mock-up as it returns to the back of it, and they might have used some of, I guess, some rivets to hold those things on. So if there is a concern there, and we will definitely get rid of those. That was not part of our understanding as to what is going to have on there. So yes, sir, that'll be gone.
Well, because they were finished to match the metal material, so that's why I just looking for clarification. Thank you for that. And Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and give my comments if you're okay with that.
Yes, sir.
So there were several folks from Trident there when I was there, as you know, and they were very, very helpful. So what I saw was some exposed and raw metal at intersections of flashing details. I was unclear how the metal coping was to be sealed where it intersected with the brick. In some locations, I could reach my hand in between the brick and the metal coping and behind the coping. And this could be a factor of building just a section of a building, and you aren't building the whole thing out. I don't know, but I was unclear how that would happen. I was surprised to see the steel lintels at the window. They were already showed rust, whether that rust was from some component above that steel lintel or it was the lintel itself. But so there's something with that's got to be done differently. And I noticed some inconsistency in the finish of the bricks, but and the mortars. And you have answered, thank you very much, about the finishes. Everything there is what you intend to be using. And then my final comment is that if this is about detailing and working out final details for these things, and the staff going to make a final review of that, I'm in support of that with the limited comments from Tori, but I'm not in support of releasing materials until the mock-up has final approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Metters.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Additional comments from board members or questions?
I will just say that I agree with Mr. Metters.
Okay, thank you, Mr. White. Any other board members wish to comment on this project?
This is Leon.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Very quickly, I'm in agreement with Mr. Meadows and Mr. White and most of the comments of the staff.
Thank you, Ms. Subject. Mr. Scott.
I'm as well. So I think everything that was mentioned, ditto. I'm in agreement with the others.
Very good. I don't have anything to add, so I won't. Having heard the body of the board, unless anyone has anything additional, would anyone on the board like to offer a motion?
I will make a motion that we defer approval on the mock-up, and in this motion incorporate all of the comments that were made by staff and board members, and final review of this mock-up by staff. In addition, the request to order materials prior to final approval by staff, I would like for that not to happen.
Mr. Metters, my motion, as I understand you have made it, is for the board to defer approval on the mock-up with the incorporation of all comments of staff, final review by staff, and in addition, that the specific request to order materials in advance of the approval of the full mock-up be denied at this time.
Along with board comments.
Along with board comments.
Yes.
So I'll restate that. My understanding of your motion is to defer approval on the mock-up with incorporation of all comments of staff, board comments, final review by staff, and in addition, that the request to order materials in advance of the approval of the mock-up be denied.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'll second that. This is Jay.
Thank you, Mr. White. I'll call the roll. Mr. White, how do you vote on this motion?
Yay, in favor.
Ms. Subject, how do you vote on this motion?
Yay, in favor.
Mr. Metters, how do you vote on this motion?
Yay, in favor.
And Mr. Scott?
Yay, in favor.
And myself would also be yay in favor. It's a unanimous opinion to defer with the additional notes made specifically in the motion. Thank you, Mr. Barber, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I believe that is our only agenda item this evening, unless staff has something additional they need to bring to our approval or for the good of the board.
No, it is a lovely afternoon, and I do hope that you all enjoy what's left of it.
Thanks, Lawrence.
Thank you.
Same to you, Lawrence.
Thanks, everybody.
Same to the whole board. Enjoy this
Thank
weather.
you. Have a good evening.
Good night.
You too.